Hello, today is February 18th, 2019. This is the homework that you were given on Thursday night on Chapter 7, Lesson 4. You need to pause the video so that you can check over your work. All right, today we are moving on to Chapter 7, Lesson 5. We are looking at division equations. With all of our equations, we talked about the word inverse and how we solve these equations with our inverse property, with our inverse operation. So when we're talking about inverse of division, what operation is the opposite of division?
Multiplication.
Absolutely. So we're going to be using multiplication today to help us solve these division equations. Every time we had a new type of equation, what did we call the property?
Property of equality.
Property of equality. So today we are talking about the multiplication property of equality. And what that means is if you multiply the same number to each side of the equation, the equation stays equal. All right? So if I have a division equation, I'm sorry. 24 and 8. 24.
You can multiply a number by 8 and get 24.
So it has to be a division equation. So I would say, I'm sorry. Okay. 28 divided by 4 equals 7. Do you agree that 28 divided by 4 equals 7?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. That is equal. This side is equal to this side. The left is equal to the right. Well, there's division here. We showed division with a fraction bar. So to get rid of division, I use its inverse, which is multiplication. So what I'm going to do to show that is I'm going to put parentheses around what I currently have on both sides. That's an important step I need you to do. Then when we see divided by 4, I'm just going to say times 4. Okay? Now you see that this is 4 over 1 when you look at it as a fraction. What happens when we have 4 over 1 and something fourths? They what? These 4s are going to cancel out. I'm going to be left with 28 on the left side of my equation. And what is 7 times 4?
28.
28. It's equal on both sides. So that shows you that if I multiply on both sides of the equation, as long as I do the exact same thing, times 4 on both sides of the equal sign, it stays equal. All right? So if we look at example 1 on page 562, we see A divided by 3 is equal to 7. There is a model for this. I don't see the model as being extremely helpful. If you like the models, you can refer to page 562. I go straight to the algebra. So it's saying dividing by 3. So instead, I'm going to put my parentheses around both sides. I'm going to say times 3. Scratch out these 3's. That's a big step so that you know all you're left with on the left side is A equals to 21. If I go back and I check 21 divided by 3, it should equal 7. So I'm going to cover up this side so that my brain doesn't fool me. 21 divided by 3 is 7. It should be equal to 7, so I am correct with A equal to 21. This is my answer. This is not my answer. My answer is A equals 21. Okay? Got it? Problem A. says x over 8 equal to 9. If you're in class, go ahead, solve it. If you are at home, pause it and try to solve it yourself. I'm going to put my parentheses on both sides. I have 8 to multiply to each side. That eliminates. X is equal to 72. You can keep working a few. All right. So if you are doing the got it problems, these are your answers to those 4 problems. Check your work, those in class. At home, you can pause it and try them. All right. Moving on to example 2. I'm going to flip so I have enough room. Example 2 is on page 563. And we are talking about a word problem here. It wants us to write and solve a division equation. So the weight of an object on the moon is 1/6 that of its weight on Earth. If an object weighs 35 pounds on the moon, write and solve a division equation to find its weight on Earth. It gives us 1/6 as part of our phrase, right? When we think of 1/6, what do we think of 1/6 as? A fraction, right? So definitely like that, right? The only other number they give us is 35. So knowing 1/6 is a fraction, fractions indicate division. My x is being divided by 6, okay? And I'm left with 35. The moon weight divided by 6. Or the Earth's weight divided by 6 is the moon's weight. Right? The Earth's weight divided by 6 equals the moon. So how do I solve this? I'm going to do exactly what I was doing before. Remember, with any word problem, you need to have a unit. But with this, you also have an issue that you used your equation to solve. So I'm going to box it in. As a teacher, I'm going to ignore these parentheses you used to solve. But the problem says write and solve a division equation. So here's my division equation, and here's my solution. I need to make sure I have both things, the equation and the solution. Okay? Got it, E? On that page. Nathan picked a total of 60 apples in 1/3 hour. Write and solve a division equation to find how many apples Nathan could pick in 1 hour. I know it's 1/3 of whatever I'm going to pick equals 60. when I go to solve it. $180 apples is my answer to my solution, but A over 3 equals 60 is my equation. Did we come out with that? Are we okay? Does anybody have any questions?
No, ma'am.
Very good. Very good. All right, I'm turning to the example on the back. Example 3. Example 3 gives us a decimal. So we're going to see what happens when we have a decimal in there, how it might need to be treated a little bit differently. Carla is buying ribbon for costumes. She wants to divide the ribbon, divide into 8.5 inch piece for 16 costumes. I'm running out of space. Okay. Write and solve a division equation to find the length of ribbon that Carla should buy. Would you agree that if I'm going to divide it into 8.5 inch pieces, okay, my total ribbon divided by 8.5 inch pieces should give me 16 pieces? Needs to give me 16 pieces, correct? Okay. I have a roll of ribbon. I'm cutting it into 8.5 inch long pieces. Okay. I need 16 of them. So this ribbon has to be cut into 8.5 inch pieces, and there needs to be 16 slices of ribbon. Okay. So to solve it, this is my equation. I'm going to solve it by multiplying times 8.5. Okay. Wait. I did this wrong. When I have one decimal place in my multiplication, I need that one decimal place in my answer. So the ribbon is equal to 136 what? Inches. Very good. Remember, I think it's ducks if you don't put anything, which is really funny when I'm grading it, but not so funny when you're losing points. Okay? All right. Do we have a question on this? You just have to watch with your multiplication that you have that decimal point included, okay? All right, your homework tonight is page 565 and 566, 1 through 7. If you're at home, I hope you feel better soon. We miss you.